seen a lot of rivals go, yeah, like, I don't want this to work, but look what they're doing. I just noticed this a year or so ago. Some Arsenal fans, by the way, noticed this 2 years ago. Some people know. And now, look, that's got to turn into trophies. That's the next step for this team winning major trophies. In terms of Declan Rice, where and how do you think he'll be utilized in this team, Ozzy Guna?
For me, when I saw Declan Rice to Arsenal before Kai Havertz, I said, I reckon he's a number 8. I think he's coming in to sit in that number 8 role, and we're going to be looking for a number 6. And at the moment, I'm kind of thinking he's going to be 6. That's only because I know Thomas Partey is looking out the door, and we don't have anyone to fill those shoes. So right now, as it sits, Declan Rice, in my mind, is going to be playing 6. But we don't know what's happened behind closed doors, and I'm pretty sure that when Declan Rice would have been approached by Arsenal, would have been like, "This is who we got planned to partner you in the midfield." Hence, giving him his position. So time will tell. At the moment, it's looking like he's going to be a 6. But if tomorrow we go and sign a quality 6, and you know who we've been linked to, Declan Rice could be playing that number 8 role that I think would be very suited to him. We all know that at West Ham, he was pretty much the complete midfielder. 6, 8, you name it, it was Rice. I just think at Arsenal, as an 8, we could see the best of Declan Rice, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the game, to be fair. I'm looking at the players that we're being linked to, like Lavia's and stuff like that. They're more of like the 6 type of role. So you can afford, like I was saying it earlier, with the Havertz signing and stuff like that. Arsenal predominantly like to dominate the ball. They like to dominate the possession where they can against the smaller teams. So when we've got, the majority of the possession and we're dominating the game, you can afford to play more to attack-minded midfielders in front of your 6. Whereas as against the bigger teams, maybe, you could, with Declan Rice being able to play the 8 and the 6 and kind of do both roles, you can be a bit more reserved by having, let's just say, a Thomas Partey and a Declan Rice, and then a Martin Odegaard or a Kai Havertz in front. So you kind of shoring up your midfield a little bit more. So it gives Arteta options. It definitely gives Arteta options. But that's what I see. I don't think he's got a set role as either a 6 or an 8. I think it will very much depend on, who we're playing in that week. But yeah, definitely.
I think there could be some versatility in this. Jorginho's at the club. And I think, I always talk about club PR and should we believe everything we're told by the journalists about our clubs? This is going to be whether or not, they spoke when you signed Jorginho that he was a long-standing target and he was massively admired by your manager. This is going to be a key component to that. This is going to show people whether or not he really was, or whether he was always seen as a backup option. Because I think that there's times to play him, and there's times to play Rice as the DM, and there's times to play him in a box-to-box role. I think, exactly. And this is the thing for Arsenal this year, when you're not in the world of just trying to make top 4 anymore and see what happens in other comps. It's trying to win both domestic trophies, and you've got to be highly competitive in the Champions League and Premier League. And for the younger Arsenal fans who don't even remember the Champions League, has it been 7 years since you've been in it? So there's a generation that don't remember it, or they actually don't remember you being competitive in it anyway, because even the last 4 or 5 years you were in it were really poor. This isn't the Europa League where you will rotate 8-9 players on a Thursday to play in Azerbaijan or to play some second-rate team in Portugal. You have to play your strongest available team 2 times a week, but you have to rotate, because if you don't, you'll get to Christmas and you'll be burnt out, because you're trying to win the domestic trophies as well. So yeah, I think Rice will could play a couple of different roles in this team, and the good thing is he has that capability to do that as well. In terms of what's next, I know Uri Timber. I think, are you guys pretty relaxed about that? It seems to me like a formality. Are there any other positions, Ozzy Guna, that you would like to see Arsenal address and maybe go for next to improve the squad more?
If Uri Timber comes up, if we're done and dust with Uri Timber, which I'm pretty sure most Arsenal fans are pretty happy with right now, and they're thinking it's over. I think we need an out-and-out striker, but not a like for Jesus. We need some tall timber, like a Mitrovic. I'm not saying Mitrovic, that'd be awesome. I don't see that happening, but I need a tall timber striker. I need a different type of a different type of option to come in for Jesus. We can't be playing that same dimension with a Trossard and a Martinelli and Jesus playing in the middle of the park. Sometimes you need that Peter Crouch to come in and, get on the end of a header. Now, I know people are going to talk about Kai Havertz being decent, but let's not go there. Let's try and get a number 9 that brings a different dynamic to a striker. I think also the striker that we will be getting won't be a big name player, because I think we're set in stone looking to solidify our midfield, which has been an issue for a while. So I think the striker that we may be linked to won't be like Jesus, will be a big boy, but it won't be someone that everyone knows. That's just my opinion. I just think when I look at the dollars and cents that we've spent, it doesn't leave us much. And with the talks of Eddie Nketiah and Balogun pretty much being out the door, recouping some of that coin, using it for another midfielder and or another striker looks like what Arsenal will do next.
Yeah. See, I agree as well. I do think we need another striker who offers us a different dimension to Jesus. I think, like you said, we need an out-and-out goal scorer. I think a lot of that will depend on Balogun, though, because I'm hearing different things. I'm hearing that Arteta, is willing to give him an opportunity in pre-season. He kind of, I know it's in the French league and that, but you look at him and he looks like a striker that can score all different types of goals. He looks more of an out-and-out, goal scorer compared to a Gabriel Jesus. And if we keep Balogun, maybe he could offer that dimension from the bench for us. It would be a massive risk because, the guy's still young. He's not proven, or he's semi-proven, but not proven in, the Premier League and the Champions League. But that could all depend on what happens with him. I just think, if you're going to go out and get an out-and-out goal scorer, you're looking at £80 million plus. And I really don't see Arsenal going out there and spending that sort of money on a striker when we still need to address the midfield. I'd love for Arsenal to go out there and get Tchouaméni. I've seen we've been linked with him. Or even, go back in for Caicedo. I think them two players are the type of players that we possibly need in that midfield, and that would kind of set us in stone. With Yuri and Timber coming in, I think we have loads of options across the back line now. You've got Tomiyasu that can play right back. You've got Ben White and Yuri and Timber that can play right back. Tomiyasu can also play centre back. Timber can play centre back. Ben White can play centre back. So you've got lots of different options in that area. You've got Zinchenko and Kieran Tierney, who we don't really know what's going to happen with Kieran Tierney, but if he stays, you've got your two options at left back there. And then, of course, you've got, Gabriel and Saliba. So I think in terms of defence, I think we've got enough, variety and options there to not have to really worry too much about that area. I definitely think midfield is a priority, especially if Thomas Partey is going to leave. And, striker will all depend on Balogun, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Arsenal do. I mean, again, I'm focused heavily on my team. Nice breaking news, actually, from Fabrizio about us, just changing the subject massively. Do you know what annoys me, right?
News about United. Oh, my God.
I've been waiting for some good United news from Fabrizio for a while, and he does it just as I'm going live about another team. It's so frustrating, but Man United have made a verbal bid to Inter. And what I love about the verbal bid, you all know my take, that means they bloody bid. There's no such, I just don't believe that the only difference between an official bid and all the other bids is the official ones can be accepted and then you're committed. But a bid's a bloody bid. Do you know what I mean? It's like whether you WhatsApp message another sporting director and say, would you take 50 million? Or whether you send a fax or an official email. I don't understand what the difference is, bro. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you text a woman tomorrow saying, would you marry me? And she says no, you've still proposed. Just because you didn't get down on one knee at a restaurant, don't mean you didn't do it. But yeah, that's good news for us. But I'm intrigued. I mean, someone says no Mount news yet. No Mount news yet. He released a video saying by the Chelsea and did his medical. He's done. I don't care about the formal. Honestly, the formal announcements are the one bits I don't care about because it's just that's the parade. And I don't go on the Man United website anyway, because no self-respecting Man United fan goes on their website or their Twitter because you don't give them any traffic yet until the Glazers are gone. So it's done. But yes, now look, you guys are moving very much in the right direction. And look, what I'm really excited about, the Man United actually have their first game in like 5 or 6 days. But I actually think preseason is going to be a bigger focus this year than any other from teams, because next season, in general, I think is going to be massive for all of us. And I actually feel to catch City, you know what? I'm not a fan of this saying, but you know, an enemy of my enemy is a friend. There's an element of truth to that. I think to catch City, you need a very good Arsenal and a very good Liverpool and a very good Man United, as an example.
Yeah.
Because I think you need enough teams that can beat them. If there's just one team going at them that's good enough to beat them, either in individual games and accumulate points close to them, I still think they win the league. But if Liverpool are 20 odd points better next year, Man United are 10, 15 points better, Arsenal are better, hopefully that will take points away from City and it will give us all a chance. One of us can pick them. But I think if it's just Arsenal that are out there challenging, I think City win the league. If it's just Liverpool, I think City win the league. If it's just Man United, City win the league. So there's this element where I am thinking, I kind of feel like we all need to improve for one of us to catch them. So that's my train of thought. So I'm not happy you guys are getting better, but I do think in terms of toppling City, we all kind of need it. Plus, as a neutral from it all, just from the competitiveness of the league, having a better Arsenal, better Liverpool, better Man United with this City team, Chelsea improving, it's going to be a colossal season, boys. It really is.
I've got an interesting take on City, to be fair, Tal. I think, you're looking at Bernardo Silva being linked with a move away. They've already lost Gundogan. I think if they was to lose Bernardo and maybe someone like Amares, for example, I think you'll see City go through a slight, and I'm not saying it's going to be a massive transition, but a very, very slight transition where they don't win. I do still think at this current moment in time, and they will win the league, even if they was to lose them players. But I don't think it would be as comfortable as what it has been. And people look at like last season and the fact that they only won it by 5 points and say, oh, well, is that really comfortable? In the end, it was comfortable because the last two games, they kind of just played whichever, second string team because they didn't need to win them games. So I kind of feel like if it all goes like that and City lose a few of their, mainstay players, I think Gundogan's going to be a huge miss for them at the moment. I really, really do. The guy's captained them to a treble, And I'm not saying that they don't have other leaders in their team, because of course they do. But I think that Gundogan will be a huge miss for Manchester City. If they lose Bernardo as well, and possibly Mahrez, I know he don't start many games for City, but he's a great option off the bench. Maybe we could see the likes of Arsenal, Man United, and Liverpool, with all the improvements that they're making in the market, get that little bit closer to Manchester City. So, yeah, that's my feeling on it.
But you could be right. You could be right. How confident are you for next season at the moment, Ozzy Gunnar? Do you feel, is there still more that's needed? Do you feel you'll be? I mean, Lee Gunner said last night or yesterday afternoon on the Straight Facts that you won 9 of your opening 10 games. Could you do that again, or maybe you don't need to? If your back end of the season is better, the beginning part doesn't have to be as good. You think about those 4 games that you drew and lost. If you win 2 of them and draw 1 more of your opening games, you're actually in a better position at the end of the season than winning your opening 10 matches. So how do you see the season going?
Well, on the current signings, I still think we need to strengthen. With the players that we've been linked with, let's say Alavia and Timber or whatever, I think we can still push City to the limit. But I think Arsenal's issue is, and it has been for years, is that January, February, that March, that area is where we start dropping points. I think that's where Arsenal need to start to focus. The start of the season would be great for us to take off like a rabbit out of a hat, you know what I mean? Just taking off. But that would be just like Arsenal. What I need from Arsenal is I want them to leave something in reserve. I think our problem is when we finish up in February, we seem to be gassed, whether it be pressure, whether it be too many games. I'm hoping that Arsenal's signings are going to change this sort of dilemma that we've had year in, year out. Everyone will say it. February comes, Arsenal drop off. March comes in, Arsenal are done. I need that to change. I don't care if we don't win the first 9 or 10 games. I don't mind for us to lose, 3 out of the first 10. But if we continue in a manner where we can, string through a win and a draw and a win and a draw throughout the season consistently, that brings me to the top of the league. That's what I'm looking for. I don't need to lead the pack all the way to the end. I just need to be up there. So when City do drop points to a Man United or to a Liverpool or maybe a Newcastle, I'm right there to make them pay for it. I want to be in City's taillights. I want to be putting the pressure on them, not the other way around. I don't think Arsenal can handle it when they're the ones leading, and constantly looking behind them. I want it to be the other way around. I want us to be the underdogs.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from.